Boris the Bee Guy, Forest Beehive Apiary, Central Maine. I recently installed a couple of $37 temperature sensors inside my layers hives. Right after I installed the sensors, I had to leave my apiary for a week. The very next day, when I was away, one sensor sent me an alert. The hive temperature was climbing much higher than I expected. I checked my apiary remote security camera and saw the bees heavily bearding on the front of that hive. The outside temperature of the apiary was only 82 degrees Fahrenheit, yet the hive temperature kept rising. I was getting worried, especially since the next few days were supposed to be much hotter. Then something strange happened. The sensor temperature started dropping rapidly during the second half of the day. By evening, the bearding had almost disappeared. But overnight, the hive temperature dropped to only a few degrees above the outside temperature. Since I was away, I asked a friend who lives near the apiary to help. At my request, he put a thick pink foam insulation board on top of the hive with a stone on top, and I kept watching the graphs. The orange line shows the hive temperature. The blue line shows the outside temperature. The alert came at around 11 a.m. on June 3rd. On the graph, you can see that the hive temperature climbed past 100 degrees Fahrenheit and eventually exceeded 107 degrees Fahrenheit. Later that same day, around 5 p.m., my friend added the foam board on top. The next morning, the graph looked very different. While the outside temperature was higher than the day before, the in-hive temperature never reached the same extreme levels. And overnight, the hive stayed noticeably warmer. Daytime highs were lower, nighttime lows were higher, and the bees appeared much more comfortable. No more bearding, even at higher outside temperatures. The sensor alerted me right away while the problem was happening. That hive had a metal roof with just plywood under it, and no roof insulation during summer. Between 8 a.m. and noon, direct sunlight made the hive's metal roof as hot as a frying pan. The graph showed what was happening. The hive was overheating during the day and cooling rapidly at night. Adding the pink foam board lowered daytime highs, raised nighttime lows, and the bees stopped bearding. So even during Maine summers, I've learned that a well-insulated hive roof matters. The pink foam board worked, but it's really a temporary fix. Left exposed to rain, foam insulation becomes eventually waterlogged and loses much of its effectiveness. A better short-term setup would be to protect the foam with a waterproof cover, similar to how I use it during winter. Long-term, I want wool-insulated lids. On this graph, the blue line is for a hive with a wool-insulated lid. Notice how much smoother the curve is and how much smaller the temperature swings are. So maybe heavy bearding isn't always as normal as we think it is. In this case, it turned out to be a clue that something else inside the hive needed attention. Sometimes the bees tell us something, and sometimes a sensor helps us listen. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe.